Welcome back to Talkin' Drawful. I am your host, the Irreverent Ellsworth. So glad you could tune in today. I tell you perfectly fine, I am not ready to do this. Oh, and that is why we must do it. Make sure we're recording. Always important. Today we're going to go ahead and use pink, because pink is such a loud color. All right, what do I want to do here? I had an idea for something. I always like to frame people as they're on our level. So what if we did looking up? And how do we look up? We look up by putting everybody over top of us. So the way we look up is like so. And we want to bring the features out for the model. For you watching at home, I'm going to try to keep talking even though I really don't want to. That's the hard part, I think. Is not wanting to do anything. Good night. I have foreshortened this person out quite a bit. I have to measure out their head because we're not like, this is like 4 heads wide. 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Not really sure where I'm going with this, but that's okay, because that's the point. The point is to not know. Oh, this person is kind of scrunched down. I'm not sure what's going on there. Put the Wu-Tang symbol up high. And of course, part of it's not there because part of the Wu-Tang isn't there. This is so stupid. Oh, so let's tell a story, shall we? I guess why? Why do I like to draw? I don't know, I've always drawed when I was drawed. I like drawing. You know my name. I do like drawings. Yeah, I have no idea where this is going. None whatsoever. That's alright. Remember, you gotta have the courage to fail, my friends. Shoulders? We don't need shoulders. We've got boobs. We've got impossibly long arms that make no sense. And we've got the stomach area that doesn't make sense either. Oh, maybe this is a well-endowed lady with a large belly. A friend of mine posts on Facebook. She's like, if anybody else asks me if I'm having twins, I'm going to lose my mind. It's like, oh, snap. I'm a larger fella. Nobody asks me if I'm pregnant. Frankly, that's rude. We'll give her some big old arms. Just massive arms. Yeah, that's not a hand. I don't know what that is. This is, I'm trying to insinuate a bicep here that comes down into a arm. It's so funny. You spend all your life trying to mirror things that are realistic, and then you're introduced to stuff like surrealism or just astounding, ridiculous organizations of the human form, and you realize that that's okay too. Like, that's not a human nose. I don't know what that is. Looks like the end of a nerve. I'm sad the eyes aren't going to be down where I can find them. Oh, there they are. I can get one eye on there. It's like, where do you blend the realism and the insanity? I don't know about all this pink, man. How nice belly going on here. And look at that. Nice belly. I just... Oh, Lord in heaven. I got some new markers, so we're going to do some great backgrounds today, because we're going to pick all the colors we don't normally pick. And that's what we're going to do here. There we go. Big Buddha belly. Big Buddha belly. Yeah, you know, hey, why not? Oh yeah, should be talking while I'm drawing. That's always useful. I don't know, sometimes there's beauty in quiet. Somebody right now is going, yeah, shut up. Just keep drawing. Oh, you've always got the option to turn down the volume. Always turn the volume on. Nothing. I like the shape of this. This is insane. Don't know what I'm going to do with the arms, though. Make them flowing. Oh, yeah. Arms. Those aren't arms. Those are tusks of an elephant. Oh, that's not a nice thing to say about a fat person. Although, I don't think an elephant's ever cried that somebody called it fat. I think that's the beauty of body acceptance, is that the whole idea that you need someone else to accept your body is complete and utter hogwash. Yeah, like the animals I pick. But it is. You don't need anyone to accept your body type. Are you functioning in your body? Yes. Well, fantastic. At the point you're not functioning in your body, you need to change things about your body. Until that point, I would say celebrate your body. Enjoy it. Enjoy every moment of it. Enjoy every minute of it. You know, when's the last time you thanked your teeth for chewing food? Like, well, it can't hear me. Yeah, but you can hear you. And since you are the collection, which is your teeth and all of your parts, you should just thank your body for doing wonders. Wonders that it does. I love the nose. I love the shapes of the nose. It's kind of fun. You can bring it out a little bit. And then just a plucky little smile. A thin one. Yeah, that's fun. No pupils, because who knows where they're looking. And we'll firm up these Wu-Tangs. I get to a point in life where I'll do the things I enjoy. So the problem is, I found it first when people talk about the work-life balance. You know, because you definitely go to work with an idea that you're going to be creating things or manifesting things, and when you get there, it's like, all right, well, am I happy about being here at work? I would do a reverse Wu-Tang for the belly button. Maybe it's an Audi. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll color in the skin today, which I never ever do. I want to pick the hair. Now, somebody sent me a picture of her with curly hair. Not this lady, because this lady, I don't know, might exist, might not exist. But I want to try curly hair. And I think you would draw it kind of like a cloud. But it can't be like thin. With thinner hair, you know, it just kind of lays. But with curly hair, it's kind of, you know, kind of like a big cloud. Because you're not going to draw each individual hair. All right, we're going crazy with the hair already. I see that. That's okay. As Bob Ross would remind us, it's just for you, not for anybody else. All right, we're going to have it billowing. I mean, for goodness sake, she's got elephant trunk arms. I don't think hair is going to be an issue. going on there, but it definitely does look like clouds. It's funny. I don't want it to be textureless in here, so we're gonna throw some curls back and forth. And of course, I want to overlap the arms, which I didn't think about before drawing those really solid colors there, but that's okay. Yeah, I've kind of worked against myself. But again, it's not something... I mean, have you ever seen... I was watching, I think it was Jim Lee drawing Harley Quinn the other day. And I mean, he threw down the lines so quickly and with such disregard. It was, you know, there. You talk about not having too much emotional investment in something. If you're so careful, you're not afraid. Well, you're so careful, you're afraid to do something. Then what you're going to do is you're going to fall into this pattern that you just don't. You're so terrified of what might be that you have no inclination to manifest anything. Is that perfect? Well, no, of course it's not perfect, but is it on there? Yeah, it is. You know what? The canvas started perfect, and all we're going to do is ruin it. Yeah, how you like that? That's all we're going to do is ruin it. So now that I've got kind of this base layer, I'm going to just put some more accents in here. I might fill it in a bit. Again, I don't normally do color, so I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but doggone it. We're going to have fun with it, that's for damn sure. You go crazy. Reminds me of Robin Hood Men in Tights. When the lady pulled her hair out, it was just bush, 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 bush. Just went on forever and ever and ever. Oh, maybe I need to do more S's in here. There we go. Self-serving. Yeah, just random, shameless. I have a friend who's very, very harsh about her curly hair. She's like, oh, it's frizzy, it's frizzy. I'm like, you have no idea what it's like to have flat hair. And it'd be all right. And that's the other thing, is that another reason you should never worry about body acceptance is because no matter who you are and what you look like, someone is looking at you going, I wonder what it's like to have that, you know. Very classic example, a friend of mine is very, very tall and recently met someone who was very, very short, and you know, in their time together, it was funny because they just got this, you know, it's so funny. One of them's like 6'5", and the other one was like 4'5", and just to see how they related was so amusing, because you don't think about it. Oh, what am I doing? Trying to color in stuff. Not sure about this color choice, but that's okay. We'll keep going. Yeah, that's what we'll keep doing. We'll keep going. And less of a coloring in and more of a cross circling. I wouldn't say it's cross hatching, because I wouldn't say it was hatching to begin with. Or crossing for that matter, but we're going to put a bunch of colors in our hair. And we'll just be okay with that. Dun, 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 dun. Nice thing is that if your aim is to ruin the page, then you'll succeed every time. If my goal was to make a good picture, well then, results may vary. But if my goal is to make the worst picture that was ever seen, then we can do nothing but succeed. I really like this color. It was funny because I wasn't a fan of the pink at first, but I like the different colors and variations of it. So I think I'm going to go back and do the shading as such. And keeping the same curly thing, I'm going to maybe put more curls into the shading. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Not sure where the light source is, but we'll assume it's in the front because reasons. It's funny, I remember as a young child in high school, one of our art teachers did a portrait in crayon of all things. I was like, that's ridiculous. How is that? That's not. And you get up really close and you're like, oh my God, it is crayon. But from far away, you couldn't tell. And it was really good. And I asked a friend of mine, Josh, one time, I was like, wow, man, that was an amazing portrait you did. He's like, I'm an artist. Of course I know what I look like. I'm like, oh, Lord. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend your sensitivities there, buddy. I gotta put some shading under here. And because we're using different colors, then we don't have to worry about them running over because it'll stay that way. I want to do a lot of shading on this belly. Yeah. Because reasons. Yep. Yeah. Hey, look at that. If our goal is to ruin, then our goal is achieved. Do a shape. Let's give him a shape. Of course, your belly's got a little bit of, you got a little fupa. Yeah, it's fun. Let's see. Tell you, I've been made well aware of my body size before in my life, but I think my favorite was getting on an airplane, because getting on an airplane is always a fun ordeal when you have a unique body type, whether you're really tall or really heavy. And I was coming back from Vegas, and I was sharing a little puddle jumper with a friend of mine. We were going to connect over in, was it South Carolina? It was some ridiculous thing. I love how flights are like, hey, we're already going there, and we can ship you there and then ship you back faster than taking a direct flight. And it's just how it is, you kind of deal with it. But we're sharing this little puddle jumper, and of course we're two big guys, two big linebackers, and we're just crammed into these little spaces, and it was just so funny. And the girl would come by on the drink cart, and I'm like, all right, everybody, suck it in. And I'd almost have to crawl into his lap to allow this drink cart to go by. It was so much fun. And you're aware of your body, but you have to laugh about it, because people are like, oh, it's not funny. It's not funny. You have no idea what it's like. I was like, well, yeah, I've been fat since 9 years old. And when I say fat, I don't mean like, oh, he's a little heavy. I'm saying I've been morbidly obese from the time I was a young child, and one day it'll catch up to me. It definitely will. And, I understand that. I've actually recently started losing weight just by cutting down dinner. I guess that's not the best way to do it, but my mom always told me breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. So I'm really not sure what I'm doing with the arms yet, but I'm not sure that they need anything to be done with them, because these, of course, are going to be tentacles. I mean, hands are fun, let's be honest, but tentacles are more fun. So we're going to put up some tentacles here. Yeah. Because Cthulhu is awesome. Now, the only thing I would say maintain with the tentacle is they will always get narrower as they go out, kind of like a starfish. You have like goes out and out and out. Rarely does it go out and then get bigger again. So right here where it gets bigger again, that's not realistic. Of course, neither is drawing a woman with tentacle hands. But I know the Japanese fans will love it, because they're surrounded by water. And I guess that's why so much of the sea life embodies their very unique style of art and eroticism. I've seen far too many pictures. Well, let's not say far too many. I've seen a satisfying amount of pictures with women and posing with squid and octopus and octopi, octopodes. Quite a bit indeed. So we've got kind of this nice purple and blue thing going on with the hair. I want to do something with the background, and I don't want to go crazy, but we'll do some green. Oh, look at this light green. Good Lord, I finally got the huge chisel tip Sharpies. Raw. Not the pros, mind you, because... Oh, these are nice. They actually have like paint markers. I might check those out. Normally I do a radial background that emanates out, but this time I want to mimic actually water. Because when you think about it, if she's underneath, first of all, if she were in water, then the boobs would float. So that'd be a little more realistic. Of course, she's got these wonderful oh, this is nice. This is like painting almost. Those are nice. Oh, listen to that sound. Hopefully that does it for you. Does it for me. Means I'm creating. Now the nice thing, if this were paint, and I could do the background separately, then you wouldn't get a better flow, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. Make it work, make it work. Oh, look at that. Well, arguably it could be in front. It's Seaweed, for goodness sakes. Go on my day. Jamming out to the XX recently. It's a fun part about Amazon Music. If you're a member of Prime, you get like free, not all the the hot songs, but I'll be honest with you, I'm very happy not to hear the top 40 every moment of every day. I gotta change my channels in my car because the radio just beats to death. It's like, hey, here's the same 20 songs in heavy rotation, just like they were 10 years ago. Let's go ahead and put those through. Thank God for, like the local stations. We have a local station out at Towson WTMD that plays a lot of like alternative stuff, like Selvin Esso, really, really fun. St. Vincent is another one that's fun. She's actually gotten to the popular channels, if you will. I've enjoyed the XX, Phanogram, they're pretty decent. Glass Animals is a lot of fun. They have a song called Life Itself that's just hilarious. And I fell in love with it because there's one lyric that says, she says I look fat, but I look fantastic. Which is just, I was like, yeah, that's right. I do look fantastic. What? We're gonna go dark on this background. Any darker than this. Gotta get back. So much fun. I like singing. I can usually mark a day by how well it's going, by if I'm singing or not. And I'm singing a little bit. What I love to do is what I call musical theater singing. And that's basically where everything I want to say, I sing instead. Oh, that's a lot of fun. Oh, that's nice. Like a little brush. I'm gonna put a little dark green in our seaweed. Get some organic shapes. That's a lot of fun. I rather dig that, my friends. We're gonna get crazy here in a minute. Oh, realize I didn't give her any kind of roundabouts here. My goal is, if I really push myself, is to absolutely cover the page. Because I feel that there's a lot of empty space here, and that doesn't need to be. We're going to keep going until we cover it all up. I even thought about sketching it out first and then coloring it in on camera. I was like, no, let's just go crazy. That's what art is about. So much of life is planning and sitting down, and yeah, I had to prepare the materials and go get the materials. But I measure the distance between an insane thought and how quickly I can put it on canvas as the mark of a good creation. Because I really don't want to let art become a task. Once art becomes a chore, I think I'll start to hate it. And I don't want that. I don't ever want that, actually. I don't ever want it to become a chore. Now, I use light blue for the hair, so I don't want to use it. I don't want to use any of the colors that I used on her. I don't want to use purple or blue. I do have dark green. I have dark blue. Maybe we'll do black. Ooh, that's going to make it dark, dark. Red? We haven't used any red yet. She's still red pink, so ooh, this is going to be tough. And I don't want to do it solid black. I'll do little specks. So I'll try to get more of the chisel tip in there. Oh, that's going to really make our model pop. So let's hope. The absurdity is just beautiful. Just beautiful. I'm trying to keep the same pattern without going over. And as I've said before in videos, you really have to decide if you're going to leave it as a sketch feeling to it, or if you're going to take the time to actually cover in all the spaces. If you're going to cover in the spaces, you have to be conscious that the markers all use the same solvent to put the pigment on the paper. So if that being considered, use it carefully and cross at your own risk. Know what they do, understand, you know. Haven't got anything on my hand yet because they dry mighty fast, and that's okay too. Oh, these big ones, nice big thick markers. Marking pages down below. Got so much love, can't help but get a little on you. That's right. See if I have any stories about the water. It's funny, I've always loved the water. The water's terrified me though. I can swim. I can't like swim. Like I can't do a breaststroke or all the fancy Olympic swimming. I can't do all that stuff. What I can do is I can tread water like a beast, and because I'm heavy and I contain a lot of fat in my body, I'm rather buoyant. In fact, I took scuba diving in college because I needed that phys ed credit, and I'm like, oh God, if I have to throw a ball, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. So thankfully, I didn't have to throw a ball. What I did is I took fencing one semester, which is hilarious. The other semester, I took scuba diving, and scuba diving was a lot of fun. We did all of our practice at the diving well was 12 feet deep, so we did a lot of our deep water exercises down there. Something called a REM and REP, if you've ever taken scuba diving. Our scuba instructor was kind of an elite. I don't know if he was, Mr. Fancy scuba diver or what have you, but he was a technical diver. So, he's like, oh yeah, I did a 300-foot dive off the Atlantic coast to repair the hull of a ship. I'm like, sure, yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Everybody does that. But he joked around with us from day one. He's like, you know what scuba stands for, don't you? And we're all smart kids. Oh, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. He's like, no. Some come up barely alive. And I was like, holy crap. And he did. He joked about death almost every single time we had a class. And it was funny because, people always challenge him. Like, why do you joke about death? He's like, because this is the safest hobby in the world. If you know what you're doing. He said there were 3 deaths last year due to scuba diving alone. He said, some people you just can't help. Guys welding a ship and they decide to turn the turbine on, he gets sucked in the turbine. He said that's beyond your control. You can't do anything about that. He said, but people who have died from decompression, and that's really the issue, is that as you move down in water, the force of the water around you actually creates a greater gravitational, it's called atmosphere. It's atmospheric pressure. So for every 33 1/3 feet that you go down, you increase 1 atmosphere. And if you've ever seen astronauts train, they talk about this all the time because you deal with extreme G forces. And it's, imagine you're, a person, and any human being weighs under 1,000 pounds, even the big ones. But let's say you're a 500-pound person. Let's just say you're 250 pounds because reasons. And suddenly, imagine trying to move if you were 500 pounds. And imagine if you were trying to move if you were 1,000 pounds. Well, that's what gravitational pressure can be. Now, as you can imagine, when you're breathing air, Now, the nice thing about water is that as you go down, your pressure is getting it from all sides. So it's not like it's crushing you. However, you are basically a flesh balloon because you need air. Well, you have a tank, and that tank has to deliver higher pressure air to you as you're going under. Now, this is not the funny story. I'll get to the funny story in a second. But he would always joke about it. And he's like, there's no reason. There's no reason to get hurt. There's no reason to die from scuba diving. He said, it's a safe hobby. It's a safe pastime. You know, there shouldn't be an issue. Well, I'm a larger individual. And as we went for our certification dive out in a flooded quarry up in Pennsylvania, I was wearing a full neoprene suit, which is normal in scuba diving. And between my natural body fat and the neoprene suit, I was sticking up out of the water about 6 inches higher than everybody else. And I wasn't treading water. I was just floating because I am full of things that float on the water. And now I'm covered in a giant neoprene suit, which is now floating on the water as well. So I had trouble. I had a 60-pound dive belt. And if you've ever used a dive belt, you don't need that unless you're going real deep down. And I still couldn't get under the water, and I'm bobbing there, and I'm like, hey, it's not working. All of a sudden, I feel this grab on my foot, and my instructor pulls me under in the dive well, and that freaked me out a little bit, but it was all right. Put my equipment on, got back into it. It was wonderful. Made a day of it. But when we did our testing dive out in the quarry, it was hilarious because, again, same situation. And I'm pretty sure it was freshwater because I don't think it would have had any saltwater inlets. But this quarry, again, same buoyancy problem. Couldn't get under. So the instructor came over to me and handed me something. I'm like, what's this? He had pulled like 2 handful of rocks off of the just out of the riverbed in the more shallow area, and just handed me rocks, and I used the rocks to get down below. Yeah, so if you are a larger person, just realize you're not gonna, if you're just doing some snorkeling and you want to tank while you're snorkeling, that's fine. But if you are actually going to achieve some depth, if you're a larger person, just realize that you're going to have to compensate for your weight more than your skinnier folks in your class there. I don't know, she looks really good. I think we should ruin it further because we should fill her in, I guess. I don't know. I think it'll be good for now. Thanks for joining me for Talkin Drawful. I'm your host, Irreverent Ellsworth. Check out SeanPurvis.com. Please like and subscribe and share it with friends. Thank you.